All right. Hello, hello, hello. I am here, Lyric Armstrong, your real estate advocate. I'm sharing my intro with you. I'm very excited about that. So today we're going to talk about the process for our buyers. What is the roadmap to success towards home ownership? I advocate for you to be a buyer and an informed buyer. So, want to talk to you about how the buying process works. Okay, so one of your first things you're doing is meeting with a real estate professional. If you can't meet with me, just try to make sure you're getting a professional. You can go on to the real estate department's website, look up their license. If they give you the license number, or you can look them up by name. My license number is 018333678. One of the things you'll notice is if there's been anything adversely filed against them, if they've had to have any repercussions in the way that they've corresponded with business, if they're ethical. So if there's a complaint against them, you'll be able to see that and get some of the information as to what the complaint was and how it was resolved. The other thing is you'll see if they've ever had their license suspended or revoked and the reasons why. And another thing, you should be able to find out how long they've been in real estate. Okay, myself, I've been in real estate for over 12 years as a licensed professional. And then, of course, my own dealings with real estate aside from that as a buyer and rehabber. So you want to investigate who your professional is. Now, they may be sweet as pie and they can probably help you close the transaction if they just got their license, but you may want to be a little more prudent and a little more refined as to who you're going into business with. You may want someone who's actually a little more seasoned than some of our new licensees. So if that be the case, you can look that up. But whatever the case, do a little interview, make sure they're informed and that they can inform you about the process, that you don't know more than them. If you know more than them, then that's a problem, okay? So once you've decided on your representation, they're going to require you to go to the loan officer. Now, you can choose to go to your own loan officer, or you can choose to go to someone that they recommend. But the process is the objective is to get pre-approved, okay, not pre-qualified. Because quite frankly, if you have a pulse and a job, you can be qualified, but you want to be pre-approved, which means that no, you're not just a living human being that makes some money, but that yes, we have looked at your FICO score. Yes, we've looked at your income. Yes, we have looked at some underwriting, maybe desktop formation or back-end underwriting, to where we now know that yes, your numbers do align and you are in fact pre-approved for this amount. Then you go searching for homes. Now, this is the part I like, okay? When you get to go and look and see what you want to move into, which one is going to be the best fit for you and your family, or maybe it's just you, maybe it's just a stepping stone. It could be your first home. So your first home does not need to be your forever home. Maybe it's just the first home that you qualify and you're pre-approved for right now. And then you can use it to step up to the home you want to be in forever. Or maybe it's that duplex you're trying to get into because you don't want to get into income producing property, but you want to start off with a duplex as a first time home buyer, or a triplex or fourplex, and you're using your first time home buyer loan program. So you want to get into one of those, and eventually you're going to move into a house. So you don't have to get the overly perfect house. I'm not talking about everything is granite and the foyer is huge. It's 26 feet high, and there's it's looking over the ocean or over the city, and you have and your bedroom has what is those things? The drapes with the recorder. I mean with the remote. Remote control drapes, and and your pool has the the floor that can roll out to cover it, so you don't even know it's a pool there. You don't have to have bells and whistles and ching ching ching, because all that costs money. Okay, so that's going to dictate the pricing. But once you know what you're pre-approved for, you can determine what your marketplace is. And you want to see location. Is this location good for my particular concerns? You know, if I have children, is it good for their schooling? Is, you know, if I'm a commuter to work, is it good for my commute? Is it, you know, centrally located so I can get there? Or is the location good in market value, that once I go to sell the home, I'm going to make money, you know, exponentially, that I'll get equity quickly. So those things your real estate agent can help you to determine on location. Because location is the number one reason for the purchase. If you're doing income property, is it a good location for my renters, that I can get a lot of renters, a lot of people wanting to be here so that they can get to school or they can get to workplace? Everything is centrally located. They can get to the bus stop is there. It runs, you know, well, or the train. You know, we actually have trains now in LA, for those of you who don't know. We have a couple. It's not DC or New York or Chicago style train transportation, but the metro is there. We have a couple, and it gets us, you know, to certain places. So you look for location, but you search, and once you find the one that kind of checks off most of the boxes, if they check off all of them, then, you know, by golly, of course, put in an offer. But you definitely want to have most rather than few. So the ones that have the most compatibility to the list, you make the offer. And guess what? You can make multiple offers on several locations. Okay, you don't have to just do one. If you are trying to purchase income property, make multiple offers. See a couple more properties. Don't let your agent talk you into, well, you've already put in an offer in on this one. You want to make sure you find the right one. This marketplace, there are a lot of buyers and very little inventory. So prices are high and competition is steep. So therefore, you might want to have a back end plan, have a couple properties in backup. Now, it will cost you to do so. So you need to be financially capable of doing it. What happens is as such, if you put in the offer, say 2 locations, and they both accept, you can open escrow with both of them, but you have to be able to put in earnest money down for both of them in order to open up escrow. So if you say 2 of them and you have another, your offer gets back and they accept your offer, you can turn around and say, well, I have to rescind my offer because this other property, I'm going in escrow with another property. So you let them know and upfront. Don't, you know, don't, I mean, you don't have to tell them when you put the offer in, but if they come back to accept the offer and you don't want to open up 2 escrows, then yes, you let them know that you're making a decision to go with the other. But why would you want to open up 2 escrows? You very well may want to open up 2 escrows because you might have negotiations, maybe a little different between the two, but you may want to open up 2 escrows because you want to investigate the 2 properties um, through the inspection process. Okay, so you do not get your money back from the inspection process. However, if you are in the inspection process according to your contract and you decide that you don't want that property because of what your home inspector found or your contractor found or whatever have you, you can pull out of escrow and get your earnest money back as long as you're still in the right time frame. So you may very well open up 2 escrows, 3 escrows, or 4, you know, multiple escrows, because you're doing investigations on all of them. Just make sure that you understand your timelines, because they're not always the same, especially if you're closing, if you're doing like a 30-day escrow or 45-day escrow versus 20-day to 10-day escrow. You're going to have different cutoff times, most definitely. So after you've decided to put in your offer, you may have to do some negotiation on terms. Typically, the sellers come back; they want you to close quicker, or they want you to remove certain contingencies, or they want you to have a shorter inspection period of time. Um, you know, I can get inspection done in 3 days. To be honest with you, I really can, but I try not to do anything less than 5 in my contract, just because I want to make sure that my inspectors can get the report back, and I give my clients a day to read the report, because it's not just, hey, this this house is great, buy it. That's not the report. The report is a little more in depth, and I want them to read it. Then we meet again and we decide upon if we want to put in any requests for repairs or any type of negotiations on pricing. But whatever the case, you and your real estate agent have decided upon, you guys open up escrow. So remember what I said, to open up escrow, when your agent is telling you, okay, great, our offer's accepted, we need to open escrow, that means you need to go put money in, okay? And the contract has a line that says your earnest money deposit. I've had people confused about this. I've had clients confused. So I want you guys to be clear. On the contract where it says deposit, that is the deposit for escrow. That's how much you want to put down to say, yes, my contract is valid, because the rules of contract is you have to have some type of conveyance, and that transpires when you either you put a dollar down or some kind of funds becomes a part of it, not just your signature in contract law. So in escrow, you're putting a deposit, your earnest money deposit. It's about 3%. So a lot of times people think, oh, this is my down payment. So, you know, I had someone who their down payment was 5%. So they thought for the earnest money they had to put down 5% in order to open up escrow. You don't have to. That's a negotiated rate. I've had investors open up escrow with a flat rate of 10,000. Once again, they're usually the persons who's open up 5, 6 escrows at a time. So they got 10,000 in 6 different locations. And they're investigating the properties to see which one that they're going to bid on, and they're actually going to purchase and close on. So that's different. There's different strategies, but just be clear that it doesn't necessarily have to be the down payment for which, or the money that you're paying for the loan. Okay. It will be used towards that if you should go through the process, but it's not necessarily that number. So it's typically 3%. But depending on the marketplace and what's going on, your agent can probably advise you on some differences. Just go with their advice. So once you've opened up escrow, you go through the process of escrow. 30 days is kind of normal. Right about now, you're looking at a 20-day to 10 to 20-day time frame. 10 days if you're all money cash buyer, and 20 days if you're trying to be a really competitive first-time home buyer. 30 days is the absolute longest. Everybody wants the money and they want it quicker rather than later. So the 45-day is not really in this marketplace, but it is in existence. And you may find that to be beneficial if you happen to come across someone who is looking for a replacement property, or they're moving out of state. I had an individual seller who was older and was going to be moving out of a home they lived in for 20, 30 years. So they needed that extra time to move. So that could very well still happen, but in most instances, 30 days and less are what your escrows are running. After you've recorded and all the things, all the final details have been ironed out, then you close your escrow and you get those keys. Hey, we got to celebrate on that one. Keys, jingle, jingle, jingle. All right. So you have now your ownership. You're in your closing. You've gotten the keys. You move in. You change and start knocking walls down, paint, whatever it is you want to do, or maybe you just move straight in. Doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do. I guess one of the things I can also share with you is that when you do move in, how is your mortgage? When do you start paying? When does the money have to kick in too, right? Well, your mortgage package will let you know if you have to have 6 months of reserve, which means you have an account that has 6 months worth of payments. This is to ensure that you can take on the property. Maybe it's 3 months. So whatever your mortgage lender has given you as your particular package will let you know what your financial standing needs to be when you close escrow. But also, you can get a month to actually make your first payment. So it's up to what's going on with the escrow. They'll let you know when your first payment is due, and typically it's a month after you've moved in. So you may have a month to kind of breathe, because I had a client that put 160 in the transaction. They needed that month to breathe because it was like suffocation. I just I just took 160,000 out of my account, and they had a million. But I'm telling you, when you take out 160, it does something to your psyche. Okay, I don't care how much you have in the account, especially if you're working for your money. Now, if you just happen to inherit it or something, maybe you don't have such a connection. But you just start thinking of how long it took you to get the account up, and now it's down. Like, oh no. Um, but home ownership is a much wiser investment than sitting it into a what do you call that? Savings account. It gives you more return. It gives you a standing, and it's a part of our biblical um, direction to possess the land. So obviously the investment was good because they ended up making equity within a year's time, a little over the 160s because of the marketplace. So so they're happy now, but at first it was like oh, what's going on? So the other thing is to consider that if you are in fact um, a first time home buyer and you are actually in the first time home buyer program, that's a part of your mortgage. Um, you may have things like your insurance and your taxes are a part of your monthly payment. So here's where I caution you, okay? If this is your scenario, I still want you to put money away for taxes. Doesn't have to be a lot, but I need you to save money away because supplemental taxes, they come around ever so often, okay? So $100 a month, whatever you can do, put it in savings, earmark it as taxes savings for supplemental because your escrow account that you're paying your mortgage with, you're paying your mortgage to your say Wells Fargo, and they're putting money into your escrow account for your taxes. So because taxes are paid twice a year, and they're paying those twice a year, does not negate the fact that the city very may well come back and say, oh, well, we have a supplemental taxation. Um, so that's why I say save about $100, $50 a month, something to that effect for taxes. Okay. The just in case supplemental comes around. And then, after 5 years of supplemental didn't come around, I guess you have somebody to work with. You take half of that and play with it a little bit. Go get you another piece of property. Take the other half, keep it in savings. So those are some of my pointers on becoming a homeowner, what the process is, and then pointers on how to secure the property, as well as how not to lose it through something as very non-avoidable taxation. Okay, you cannot avoid taxes. They don't go away. Even in COVID times, there are supplemental taxes. Okay, um, unfortunately, I don't know. I don't know how the city thinks you can pay supplemental taxes and you don't have a job and you're in COVID and you're having COVID relief, but they do, and you are required to pay it. So another way to help you with your home ownership quest. I think about this. Even if you're buying a house, think about a piece of the house that you could rent out should you ever need to. I and I tell this to everyone. Um, and it's really hard because you're like, I'm buying this for me and my kids. I'm buying this for my wife or it's just a little condo. But even if you're buying a condo, I always advise you get a 2 bedroom. And if you can get a 2 bathroom, yes, do it. Two full bath, two is perfect. But at least a 2 bedroom because two things. One, it's easier for resale. It ups your resale value. It's easier to get it sold. But two, because if there's ever a time you lose your job, COVID-19 comes around, and might see it come in, whatever, if there's ever a time you need to rent out a room, maybe even for a couple months and not even a year, you have a space you can rent out. Okay. And so if you're getting a home, you're like, well, I need all my bedrooms, the kids, and that. Okay. Is the garage located in such a way you can put an ADU there? Okay, maybe you have a full-time renter then, you know. I've had a couple of clients with that purchased the house because it had an ADU unit. So, um, and then I have a client now that's putting one in because of COVID. It's like, oh, I need to be listening to what Lyric's saying. I need to have some other income coming in. And the thing about home ownership is there are a lot of responsibilities with home ownership. It's very important to have, but there are responsibilities. So I want you to think about ways on how you can individually benefit yourself with that home. Or now, if it's a duplex, you've already thought, okay, yeah, I have the other unit I'm renting out, and maybe I have to go up on their rent. But if it is a home, you still can, you know, you can have, like I said, the garage. You can convert the garage, or you can put an ADU unit over the garage if you know, if you have the permitting ability to do that. Um, but for my condo clients, 2 bedroom at least, 2 bedroom at least, and a lot of times the condo, and I say that because my condo clients have usually been single and without children. But uh, if you had a child, your child could move into your room. It's not the most ideal scenario, but at least they can move into your room and you can rent out their room should you need it. And just saying that we want to look into various ways in maintaining our ownership, not losing our equity. And when you get foreclosed on, you lose your equity. So if you're saying to yourself, I may very well be not able to keep the property, then sell it. Don't get foreclosed on, because if you get foreclosed on, all that equity is gone, and you're on the losing end of the stick. Okay, so I don't ever want you to lose. Never, never, never lose. Thankfully, none of my clients have been foreclosed on. They listen to my advice. But you know, this is not to my clients, this is to everybody, you know, everybody on YouTube, all the channel watchers. Just be careful that you don't walk away and forego your equity. Because that's your equity. You know, you had the fortitude to find that property, so you want to at least make money off of it. And I did have a person who was a neighbor. I tried to buy her house because she constantly was on the foreclosure list, pre-foreclosure list. And she told me, "Oh, I'm saving this for the grandkids." Da, 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 da. House needed a lot of work. And I said, baby girl, save, you're saving it for the grandkids. Ain't nothing to say. You are killing your equity because the house is undervalued because you're not having the funds to keep it up. You need to sell it so it stops bleeding money. Um, and she ended up not listening, wouldn't listen, and she did get foreclosed on, but she wasn't my client. So that's all I have for you today. I'm hoping this is helpful to you. If you have any other questions, you know how to reach me. Get to me. Call me 213-444-6336 or check out the website ljaestates.com. All right. I am your real estate advocate. Until next time.